बनने वाला है घर में. So everybody is excited. And what the child does is, the moment the mother makes the cream and puts it into the freezer, every 5 minutes, the child has a tendency to open the freezer and see, ice cream bani. Has the ice cream been made? So this is the childish tendency of any child who's been told that देखो fridge में ice cream बनने वाला है आज. Today you will get ice cream. Now coming to our topic, how is ice cream making related to CSR and sustainability? Given the kind of practice we have had, as Indians, if you go back to our history, we have always been philanthropic. Raja, Maharaja, even in our various religions, we have been promoting philanthropy. But come the Companies Act 2013, it became a law. And all of a sudden, it was labeled that, this is CSR. And then came a wave of questions from the industry, from professionals. Will this be CSR? Will that be CSR? And then the ministry came up with so many standards. And all of a sudden, we came to know that, yes, there is something happening globally. So we had a race between the regulators, that is SEBI and MCA, primarily who drive the corporates in India. They came up with their own standards. They came up with BRSR, BSR, and so many other things. So today, if you ask me, we are still like that child who does not allow the ice cream to be made, because every time there is either a notification or because of our own inclination to know more, we are opening the freezer and checking ice cream bunny, ice cream bunny. So it is never made. We are still in a very volatile stage. And then unless the ice cream is actually made, we have patience, we allow time. Because if you see the time frame, we have had speakers from the industry yesterday, they have shown the time frame. It started, say, in 2009, and we are in 2020. In such a short time, we have had so many overlapping changes. And the problem is, today we are looking globally. We are talking of sustainability reporting, we are talking of integrated reporting, we are talking of GRI. These are global standards. To be very honest, as an Indian, we need to Indianize many of them, and we need to connect the dots. So that is why we met in this 2-day seminar, and we had very good deliberations yesterday. And today, I have the privilege of introducing you to a very good teacher. He had specifically said that I should not waste time on introducing him, but it is my honor to introduce to you all, because many of you may not be from the commerce background and you may not know about him, but I'll just start with specifics about Kamal sir. He is better known as Kamal sir, not as a chartered accountant. And if you go to his LinkedIn page, which I had requested all of you to visit, he has around 32,000 followers. Now that should give you enough idea as to why professionals flock him. And he's been a very good communicator of certain things which are so complicated. Even I am a visitor on his blog. So knowledge for him is transmitted on a RTGS system. People who are from non-commerce, RTGS is real-time gross settlement. That is how you get your payment from the bank. यहाँ आपने insert किया ATM card, पैसा निकला. So if you see his updates, it is on RTGS system. So to all the 480 plus people who have registered, please withdraw as much knowledge as you can from Kamal Gargji's bank, because it is a privilege to have him with us, and you will not get this offer again. Listen to him tentatively, note down your queries, and utilize the time in withdrawing as much knowledge as you can. So, sir, I don't think I should waste any more of your time. And we have very good people with us who are, just to give you the background, we have students, we have research scholars, we have people who are in the academia, and obviously, because of Gauravji's intervention, we have the professionals with us. So with this very short introduction, I think I should hand over the proceedings to Kamalji. Welcome, Kamal.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee, and good evening to each one of you. And I'm privileged to be a part of this very august gathering. So I will not take much of the time to go here and there, but straightforward, I must break the ice. So I am sharing my screen. Just confirm me once my screen is visible to each one of you, and I will try to make the topic as simple as I can. And you will be loving the topic when I will be discussing this thing for sure. And please keep on asking your question, maybe by unmuting yourself or maybe at the end of the discussion. Time given to me is very less, but yes, within next 5 minutes, I will set the tone so that the things become easy. So जो भी हमारे मन में doubts है ना, ये integrated reporting क्या है, BRSR क्या है, वो अगले 5 मिनट में by watch आपको समझ में आ जाएगा. That is my promise. Then the things obviously legally will go on and on. So I'm sharing my screen. Just Banerjee साहब मुझे confirm कर दीजिएगा आप एक बार. Are you able to see my PPT?
Yes, sir. It is coming on.
Okay.
Done,
So,
sir. It's running.
Okay. So the topic given to me is transition from integrated reporting to business responsibility and sustainability report. Now, the topic itself is having two subtopics. One is integrated reporting and second is business responsibility and sustainability report. So we need to understand both the topics precisely. So I will discuss one of the example to make you understand what is integrated reporting and why there is a need to switch over from integrated reporting to BRSR in short. Let us take a situation. This situation will help you in understanding. Imagine that you are doing job in university as a teacher. You're getting remuneration for teaching. Now, please be responsive to my question as quick as you can. Whether you're getting the remuneration only for your knowledge of the subject. तो आप किसी यूनिवर्सिटी में पढ़ाते हैं और आपको उसकी तनख्वाह मिलती है. तो मेरा सवाल है, मेरा प्रश्न है आप लोगों से कि क्या जो आपको रेम्युनरेशन मिलता है, तनख्वाह मिलती है पढ़ाने की, is it only because you have the command over your subject, you have the knowledge over your subject? That is the only factor? Yes or no? Yes, any answer from your side? Banerjee Saab, if you can help me with the answers by passing on the answers.
Who are saying no, rather 3. All of them are saying no.
So if you are saying no, then I must ask you a sub question. The sub question is, can you list 1 or 2 factors other than knowledge of the subject which are contributing to your earning of remuneration? Subject की knowledge के अलावा और क्या क्या ऐसी चीजें हैं जो remuneration contribute करती हैं?
Himashri says experience.
Experience is one, perfectly all right. So to save time, let me go to the next bit. So
Commitment.
Commitment, yes. In a way, what we need to understand, listen my sentence very carefully. Whatever remuneration you are earning is not only because of your knowledge of the subject, but there are certain more factors which also contribute to this remuneration. For instance, the factors could be knowledge of the subject, number 1, which is already in my question. Then is professional wisdom, like experience, commitment. Then is your teaching and communication skill. Then is your techniques for delivering lecture. Then the acceptability among students, etc., etc. So if you see on the screen, more than your knowledge of the subject, other allied factors, other associated factors are also contributing for the remuneration being earned by you. And these contributors are called as capitals. So what are these kind of capitals? These could be intellectual capital. These could be social capital. These could be human capital. This could be manufactured capital. This could be environmental capital, and so on. So if you see, when you say knowledge of subject means your intellect, your intelligence. That is one of the capital. Then is a teaching and communication skill. In teaching and communication skill, you have to deal with the students. You have to deal with the behavioral aspects of students. That is your audience. And that is why it is social capital as well as human capital. If you're delivering a lecture on a video conference or on a blackboard or a projector, you're also using certain tangible assets. And those tangible assets are nothing but manufactured capital. You're also keeping some environmental footprints, because when you use projector, some kind of environmental carbon footprint happens. When you use blackboard, the dust of the chalk makes an environmental footprint. So you are also consuming environmental capital. and so on. So what is the point coming out? The point coming out is, listen my words very carefully. Remuneration being earned is not based upon isolated capital. I repeat, and I type here on the screen. Remuneration being earned is not out of isolated capital. What is your isolated capital? That is nothing but your knowledge of subject, but is also being earned by integration or by integrated efforts of following capitals as well. What are these capitals? These are your human capital, social capital, environmental capital, manufactured capital, financial capital. Why I'm writing financial? Because if you're buying a projector, you need to, spend some amount. So it is a financial capital. All these capitals, if you see, 5 things are there. All these are known as 5 C's. All these are known as 5 C's under integrated framework. So what you need to understand, when you are earning something, you are consuming various capital factors, and these various capital factors, when are used in an integrated manner, that gives a result, and that is known as integrated reporting. So what is the point coming out? Under integrated reporting, you are supposed to tell the stakeholders. So I will not go to definition of stakeholders because you must have covered yesterday. Under integrated reporting, you have to inform the stakeholders as to whatever earnings I am making, what is the contribution of humans, what is the contribution of society, what is the contribution of environment, what is the contribution of funds being invested, etc., etc. And that is why the concept is known as integrated capital. So I believe the theme is set. Banerjee साहब, clear होती है बात ये वाली कि primarily क्या होता है integration?
बिल्कुल.
So now if I proceed further, ये तो बात थी example की as a layman. Now let us move to the second step. Make it bit technical in nature. Imagine this is a P&L, profit and loss statement. Now, if you see this profit and loss statement, you have on the income side, sales of finished goods, sale of scrap, bank interest, forex gain. Then if you see on the expenses side, you have purchases of raw material, employees' wages and salaries, depreciation, research and development expenses, repair and maintenance expenses, rental expenses, advertisement expenses, tax expenses, interest on loan, business promotion expenses, staff welfare expenses, CSR expenses. And when I deduct expenses from the incomes, I will get net profit or loss. So earlier days, what was happening? People were more focused upon this bottom line, net profit or loss. But don't you think in earning this profit or loss, only sales are not significant? Many other factors are also contributing, and those factors are embedded on this left-hand side. So all these factors, for example, if you are paying wages and salaries, listen my sentence carefully. If you are paying wages and salaries to the employees, it means that employee is also contributing to your business income, number one. It also means that employee is also a stakeholder in your business organization. And then number third, employee is getting a return. On the investment made by him via his skills in the entity. And number four, such return which he is getting is in the shape of wages and salaries. So it means that this employee wages and salaries signifies that in this organization as a whole, employees are considered as human capital. And whatever wages and salaries they're getting, it is known as return on human capital. So it means that the very moment you look at the profit and loss statement of any organization, the expenses side as well as the income side represents some form of capitals which the entity is using or consuming. So in practical world, what is the requirement nowadays? The requirement nowadays is simply don't report net profit or loss. Simply don't report net profit or loss. The organizations nowadays are also required to report what are those capitals, what are those factors which have also contributed in this profit or loss. So these factors could be various kinds of capitals like human capital, manufactured capital, society capital, natural capital, financial capital, etc. And that is known as integrated. So जब मैं अपने रीडर्स को यह बताऊंगा कि शेयर होल्डर ने जो पैसा लगाया वो तो एक आइसोलेटेड फैक्टर था, शेयर होल्डर्स के अलावा ऐसे कौन कौन से फैक्टर्स हैं जिनकी वजह से मैंने प्रॉफिट कमाया या नुकसान इंकर किया. सो जब मैं अपने रीडर्स को यह बताता हूं, व्हेन आई इन्फॉर्म माय यूजर्स दैट in addition to shareholders, there are certain more elements who are called as stakeholders and they have contributed in profit or loss. So जब हम सभी चीजों को इंटीग्रेट करते हैं शेयर होल्डर्स के साथ, जब हम सभी स्टेक होल्डर्स को इंटीग्रेट करते हैं शेयर होल्डर्स के साथ, तो इसको हम बोल देते हैं इंटीग्रेटेड रिपोर्टिंग. डिटेल में भी और आएगा. सो अगर मैं इसको इसी थीम से आगे चलाऊं, so what primarily integrated reporting says via definition? Let us see this chart. So what is integrated reporting? Integrated reporting means informing the stakeholders, the activities, the relationships, and the interactions. The activities of the organization, the relationship of the organization with various stakeholders, and the interaction of entity with various stakeholders that has resulted in number one or number two. Number one, value created, preserved, or eroded for the organization. And number second, value created, preserved, or eroded for the others. So आपके स्टेक होल्डर्स के साथ जो भी आपकी इंटरेक्शन होती है, जो भी आपका रिलेशन है और जो भी आपकी एक्टिविटीज होती हैं, अगर इन तीनों चीजों को, तीन चीजें कौन कौन सी हो गई, एक्टिविटीज, रिलेशनशिप्स एंड इंटरेक्शंस, अगर इन तीन चीजों को कोऑर्डिनेट करके देखा जाए तो हमें यह बताना है स्टेक होल्डर्स को कि आफ्टर दिस कोऑर्डिनेशन व्हाट इज द वैल्यू क्रिएटेड, प्रिजर्व्ड और इरोडेड फॉर यू एंड व्हाट इज द वैल्यू क्रिएटेड, प्रिजर्व्ड और इरोडेड फॉर मी. So this kind of interaction, relationship activities, when are forming part of my financial reporting, that is known as integrated reporting. Definition hence is integrated reporting is a part of an evolving corporate reporting system. Integrated reporting is consistent with the developments in financial and other reporting. This other reporting is important. Why I am saying other reporting is important? Because till now people were focusing only on net profit or loss, that is financial aspect. But now they are focusing on other reporting aspects as well. So what they say, but an integrated report also differs from other reports and communications in a number of ways. In particular, integrated report focuses on the ability of an organization to create value in short, medium, and long term. The primary purpose of an integrated report is to explain to the providers of financial capital how an organization creates, preserves, or erodes value over time. An integrated report benefits all stakeholders interested in organization's ability to create value over time, including employees, customers, suppliers, business partners, local communities, legislators, regulators, and policymakers. If you see this paragraph very carefully, this paragraph is somehow highlighting one very big fact, that you are now no longer required to explain the financial capital alone. You're also required to explain some other form of capitals in the name of employees, customers, suppliers, etc., etc. I have a small question for you. Listen my question carefully and try to respond back before I proceed further. Can say Aaj Tak channel or CNBC channel be considered as stakeholder for, say, Tata Steel Limited? Has any answer? Banerjee Saab, can you please help me with the answers if somebody is saying?
As of now, I have yes.
Yes
I
means
have
can these be
three
considered as stakeholders?
stakeholder. I have 2 yeses, 3 yes.
Okay, so those who are saying yes, can very quickly you can tell me why these Ask the channel, CNBC channel, or any other channel for that matter can be considered as stakeholder. What is the reason?
Dr. Nilanjan Deb, can you unmute and explain, please? Would it be possible, Dr. Nilanjan Deb? Dr. Deb?
Hello, yeah.
Yeah, please. Would it be possible for you to explain
Yes,
why do you? Please, please.
actually, they are the stakeholders. They are the stakeholders because what I feel like
They create value in the shape of or in the name of branding.
that's true in the name of branding.
And
And apart from that, these are the channels they normally tell the society about what sort of activities the company is carrying out. So
Yes.
their main responsibility is to connect Tata Steel with the society by highlighting what actually is happening or what actually are not happening.
Yes, absolutely perfect. I endorse your answer, ma'am. So primarily, but you need to understand this Ask the channel, or popularly called as media partners. These media partners are also stakeholders because they help in creating the value, preserving the value, and at times even eroding the value. Kingfisher Airlines is one of the example. The media created the value, eroded the value as well. And that is why, say, if Kingfisher Airlines is there and they are supposed to give, say, integrated reporting, then in the integrated report, they also need to factor in how media partners are contributing to the earning potential of Kingfisher Airlines. Having said that, the question arises, when we say media partner, which kind of capital it is out of these 5 C's? If you see 5 C's are human, social, environmental, manufactured, and financial capital,
I
which
believe
kind of
social.
capital? It is social capital. It is social capital because primarily media partners are going to have an impact upon society at large. And that is why media partners are also stakeholders. So out of my practical experience when I advise companies, so we are consultants to some of the companies for this integrated and BRSR reporting, I must say out of my experience that media partners must also be considered as a part of your stakeholder, and hence the same need to be reported in your financial reporting as well. Having said that, an integrated report is a concise communication. An integrated report is a concise communication about how an organization's strategy, governance, performance, and prospects in context of its external environment lead to the creation, preservation, or erosion of value over short, medium, and long term. Almost a repetition. Now the question arises, they say integrated report is a concise communication. Okay, agreed. But the question arises, is there any standard? Is there any rule book which guides you on how to report under integrated reporting? That is the basic question. Is there any framework or a rule book or any other standard which guides you how to report integrated reporting? Answer is yes. Answer is yes. You can take a note of my sentence in the notebook, or you can even see on this clip. The so-called rule book is called as IR framework, integrated reporting framework. This integrated reporting framework was originally developed by IIRC, that is International Integrated Reporting Council. Very recently in June 2021, IIRC has been merged with SASB, that is Sustainability Accounting Standards Board, and now the new name is Value Reporting Foundation, that is VRF. The purpose of this rule book, so-called IR framework, is to establish guiding principles and content elements. Please focus on these two expressions because this will be the next line of discussion. Guiding principles and content elements that govern the overall content of integrated report and to explain fundamental concepts and underpin them. I repeat and emphasize two expressions: guiding principles and content elements. I repeat again, guiding principles and content elements. So primarily what is happening over here, the expressions are guiding principles, and second expression is content elements. Now, what are guiding principles? Guiding principles are the principles to be followed while preparing the integrated report. Now, I will be telling you why we are switching over from integrated report to BRSR. To understand that switching over or transition, you need to understand guiding principles and content elements. Now, what are content elements? These are the points which are reportable in the integrated report. So now IR framework simply has given the principles, like you should follow these principles while reporting. And then it has told what elements you have to report. Please understand, and you can take a note of my sentence this way: when any framework gives you principles, that leads to subjectivity. For example, one of the principle is materiality, that is significant information. Now there could be possibility like one information is significant for me, but the same information may not be significant as per the professional judgment of Mr. Banerjee. It means that whether an information is significant or not depends upon the professional wisdom of each and every report preparer, and this leads to subjectivity. So what is the disadvantage? A demerit coming out here is subjectivity. Same thing is here in content elements also. These content elements, I will show you, these content elements are exhaustive. What is the demerit? Demerit is all 5 C's may not be explained comprehensively, because what they say, you have to report 5 elements, but how much you have to report is not given by IR framework. So when IR framework says what to report but is not comprehensively saying how much to report, it is again a kind of demerit, because all the 5 C's, that is these 5 capitals: manufactured capital, human capital, natural capital, social and relationship capital, intellectual capital, and financial capital, these may not be explained comprehensively by some of the organizations. So what is the point coming out? The point coming out is one of the biggest disadvantage of integrated framework is that this framework is highly subjective in nature, and what need to be reported and how much reporting should be made is dependent upon professional wisdom of the report preparer. To overcome this subjectivity, when SEBI enunciated BRSR requirements under regulation 34(2)(f) of SEBI regulations, that is listing obligations and disclosure requirements obligations, instead of giving principle-based disclosure, they gave a mix of principle-based disclosure and rule-based disclosure. So business responsibility and sustainability reporting format, I emphasize the word format is given by SEBI. So when SEBI will be requiring information from you in a well-defined template, it will be having a kind of rule being introduced rather than principles being introduced. So rules means subjectivity is somehow brought down and objectivity is brought up. So that is the reason we are into BRSR rather than IR, because in Indian system, subjectivity can be misused by the report preparers also, and that is the reason the SEBI, when enunciated this BRSR concept, made a format, well-defined format, that you have to report in this template only. And that format became a rule whereby an attempt has been made by SEBI to capture comprehensively not only the information about all these 5 C's, but some additional information as well. I will show you the format in a while. So what you need to understand, if you see this middle box, now integrated framework says these elements are reportable. What are the elements? Report about risk and opportunities, report about governance, report about strategy and resource allocation, report about entities performance, report about entities outlook. Now IR framework simply says that report about these elements, but IR is not telling how much to report, and because that how much is absent, it is leading to subjectivity. ये मेरी मर्जी हो गई, ये मेरा अपना प्रोफेशनल जजमेंट हो गया कि मैं किस चीज को रिस्क मानता हूं, किस चीज को अपॉर्चुनिटी मानता हूं. ये मेरा जजमेंट हो गया कि मेरी कंपनी में गवर्नेंस अच्छा है या अच्छा नहीं है. ये मेरा जजमेंट हो गया कि मेरी कंपनी की स्ट्रेटेजी अच्छी है या अच्छी नहीं है. ये मेरा जजमेंट हो गया कि क्या मेरी कंपनी के रिसोर्सेज प्रॉपरली एलोकेट होते हैं या नहीं होते हैं. ये मेरा जजमेंट हो गया कि क्या मेरी कंपनी की परफॉर्मेंस अच्छी है या बुरी है. ये मेरा जजमेंट हो गया कि फ्यूचर को लेकर मैं ऑप्टिमिस्टिक हूं या पेसिमिस्टिक हूं. So when all these elements are put together, we can see that things are very subjective in nature. And to overcome the subjectivity, we have a new concept of BRSR. Up till here, are you able to understand why we are moving to BRSR? Banerjee साहब, कुछ आप बताएं अगर कुछ क्लियर नहीं हो रहा हो तो.
सर मुझे तो क्लियर है.
ऑडियंस से पूछ लीजिए एक बार.
Audience, हाँ वही. Anyone, if anyone has any issues in understanding, please, we can take a 1-minute question. Okay, you know, this is what ये बहुत, please try and understand, this is like shifting from, you know, Satya Yug to Kal Yug.
Yes.
So it's like a change of a phase. So if you're not clear on Satya Yug, maybe you'll not be able to. Nahi, Subhashish ji, PPT sharing is not going to happen. Knowledge sharing is going to happen. So if you have any questions, please, Subhashish ji, any quickers, please. कोई doubt है, please पूछिए. नहीं sir, we can carry on, sir. Please.
Okay. तो मैं कुछ टाइप कर रहा हूं, आप चाहें तो स्क्रीनशॉट ले लीजिएगा इसका. So as a layman and considering the time constraint, the simple logic of transition is integrated reporting is highly subjective in nature. And to overcome that subjectivity, what SEBI did, SEBI gave a kind of rule book scenario whereby BRSR format is given. BRSR format is given. And it is nothing but a ready-made template answered by the corporates. But yes, I must say, whatever answers you're going to fill in, those answers require your professional wisdom. So you cannot shy away by saying that केवल मुझे एक format to fill करना है. Please understand, BRSR format is not merely a page filling exercise, because whatever you're going to fill up, that also requires exercise of professional wisdom. When I say professional wisdom, it means you must have the awareness of applicable accounting standards. You must have the awareness of applicable company law provisions. You must have the awareness of applicable income tax provisions. You must have the awareness of applicable GST provisions. You must have the awareness of applicable unfair trade practice code provisions and so on. So what I'm trying to convey? I'm trying to convey that BRSR is having a connection. I will come to the preceding clips which I skipped, but prior to that. So what is the BRSR connection? When you will fill the template given by SEBI in a move to transit from integrated report to BRSR, all these things need to be captured. If you see, we have investors, we have Indian accounting standards, we have directors report, we have corporate governance norms, we have audit reports, we have CSR spending, we have insider trading, we have RPTs, we have class action suits, we have vendors or suppliers, we have labor laws, consumer laws, job workers, etc., etc. I am being informed that after my session, you have a session on NGRBC principles. NGRBC stands for, any idea? NGRBC. NGRBC stands for National Guidelines on Responsible Business Conduct. Now, NGRBC has given 9 principles. So BRSR is based upon those 9 principles, and believe me, those 9 principles are very sufficiently and aptly capturing all the 5 capitals. I will show you the format in a while, but prior to that, I must repeat for the sake of repetition that BRSR is not merely a template to be filled in. It requires a harmonization of all the factors which you can see on the screen. Having said that, see this P&L once again. When I started my session, I showed you one P&L and various kinds of items were involved. If you see item by item, purchase of raw material. Purchase of raw material is nothing but financial, natural, social, intellectual, and manufactured capital. Employee wages and salaries, human capital. Depreciation, R&D expenses, intellectual and manufactured capital. Repair and maintenance expenses, natural, social, intellectual, and manufactured capital. Can you please tell me why I am writing natural capital over here in repair and maintenance? What is the reason? What could be the reason of writing natural capital for repair and maintenance? For example, you have some batteries of inverter. So when you will dispose of those batteries as a matter of repair and maintenance activities, it may lead to some carbon footprint. And that's why natural capital is harmed. So that is why I'm writing natural capital here. Rental expenses, again, same. Advertisement expenses, financial and social capital. Tax expense, financial and social capital, and so on. So what you need to understand, had we been into integrated framework for the purpose of integrated reporting, our duty was confined only to explain these 5 capitals. But the fact is, when I use the word only to explain these 5 capitals, this explanation was subjective in nature. The way I am explaining could be different from the way in which Mr. Banerjee will be explaining. To overcome that subjectivity of explanation and to bring in uniformity of explanation, BRSR was enunciated. So what primarily BRSR is? BRSR primarily, I will start from this very bullet point. Sustainability reporting is an overview of companies' economic, environmental, and social impacts caused by everyday business operations and activities. So what is the historical background of this whole BRSR concept? There are various international local frameworks. We are discussing integrated framework as one of the international framework. There are various international and local frameworks used by the organizations across the globe for their corporate sustainability reporting. In November 2018, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs constituted a committee on business responsibility reporting for finalizing business responsibility reporting formats. So please understand, SEBI had a purpose. The purpose was to devise a format. Why the format was devised? To overcome the subjectivity that was embedded in integrated reporting. And this format was devised for listed and unlisted companies based upon a framework. The framework is National Guidelines for Responsible Business Conduct. Now this NGRBC has given 9 principles. I will show you 9 principles in a while. But prior to that, what is the further development that took place? In 2020 August, this committee, as mentioned in bullet point second, this committee addressed various aspects and issues that could improve the quality and utility of disclosures and recommended business responsibility and sustainability report, that is BRSR, as an update on existing BRR. So up till now, the listed companies were reporting under BRR requirements, that is business responsibility reporting requirements. Now it is substituted with BRSR so that it could incorporate the current global practices in non-financial sustainability reporting based on NGRBC. So what happened in BRSR? Earlier we were having BRR in India, BRR plus principles of NGRBC plus requirements of integrated framework plus requirements of SDG. That means, just see here in the moment. So what is primarily BRSR? If I say as a layman, it is BRR plus NGRBC principles. Total 9 principles are there, plus integrated reporting framework, plus 17 SDGs. What are these SDGs? These are known as Sustainable Development Goals. All these things have been made easy for us by SEBI. So SEBI ने हमारे लोगों के लिए आसान कर दिया, इतना पढ़ाई नहीं करना पड़ेगा. BRSR का फॉर्मेट ही दे दिया कि फॉर्मेट देखिए, अपना विजडम लगाइए और इसको रिपोर्ट कीजिए. The good thing is SEBI has given BRSR along with the guidance note. सेबी ने गाइडेंस नोट भी इशू किया है. सेबी कहता है कि ये गाइडेंस नोट है, आप इसको पढ़ें और इसके बेसिस के ऊपर BRSR रिपोर्ट करें. मीनिंग thereby SEBI has given a complete rule book, complete information that what you need to report, how you need to report as well. So what are these 9 principles of NGRBC? So National Guidelines on Responsible Business Conduct says when you carry out the business and when you are supposed to report on non-financial aspects. So जब मैं बिजनेस करता हूं और मुझसे कहा जाता है कि आप फाइनेंशियल एस्पेक्ट्स के अलावा नॉन फाइनेंशियल एस्पेक्ट्स पर भी अपना रिपोर्ट दीजिए. So what are those non-financial aspects? So as an organization, as an entity, I am supposed to report as to whether my conduct as a business entity, is ethical, transparent and accountable, and that too with integrity. क्या मैं अपना बिजनेस ऑनेस्टी से करता हूं कि नहीं करता हूं, क्या मैं ट्रांसपेरेंसी अचीव करता हूं कि नहीं करता हूं, एंड सो ऑन. Whether my products and services are safe and sustainable, whether as a business entity I do consider well-being of employees, whether I do consider stakeholders' interest, whether I am vigilant about human rights, whether I am vigilant about protection and restoration of environment, whether I am actively involved in policy advocacy. जैसे अभी आप electricity vehicles are coming. So when electricity vehicles are coming, the government of India surely will engage car manufacturers, automobiles manufacturers. So what the point number 7 says here, principle 7 says that these automobile manufacturers must engage with the government in the real spirit. So they should not create hurdles in government policy which is good for the society, and that is known as policy advocacy in transparent and responsible manner. Then whether as an organization I am considering inclusive growth and equitable development. Now what is inclusive growth and equitable development? Say for example, in a backward area, your organization installed some plant and machinery and a factory. Because of that plant and machinery factory being installed over there, the localites, say local tribe is there, local tribe is getting the job, by virtue of which their standard of living will improve, and it is known as inclusive growth and equitable development. And lastly, whether my business entity look after the consumer's interest, and so on. So these 9 principles are factored by SEBI in BRSR format. तो जब आप BRSR फॉर्मेट देखेंगे अभी आप पाएंगे कि इन सभी 9 principles पर SEBI ने आपसे कुछ क्वेश्चंस पूछे हैं. So what SEBI has done, SEBI has given a format. In that format, questions have been asked by SEBI on each of the principles, and for these each principles, whatever questions they are asking, you have to answer. And once the answers are given, in that very sense, BRSR report will be completed report. Having said that, तो मैं सीधा आता हूँ रिपोर्ट के फॉर्मेट पे. इस पर हम बाद में आएंगे. लाइव मिनट में क्या था?
Sir, sorry to interrupt you, but we have the next speaker from 5:45, but not an issue. You can take 1 or 2 more.
Maximum 5 minutes, sir. Maximum 5 minutes. 5
Good
minutes ले
evening,
सकता हूँ सर?
Anurag sir, 5 minutes would be okay, sir?
Yeah, of course. Kamalji is explaining a very important thing. And my presentation is in continuation with that. So,
Right,
Kamalji,
right, sir.
please continue, please.
Thank you very much, sir. So सर मुझे 5 मिनट लेने हैं. I will not go through the entire format because format is big. Just a glance कि format है कैसा. So this news you can see in Live Mint. In Live Mint on 10 Jan 2022, they have highlighted the theme of ESG, how it is important. Now, as a consultant, if I am advising some companies on BRSR, my focus would be on BRSR format primarily. So format में आप देखिए 3 divisions हैं. Section A, Section B, Section C. Section A is general disclosures. Section B is management and process disclosures. Section C is important. It is nothing but principle-wise disclosure. I told you that total 9 principles are there. So those 9 principles need to be reported by any organization on whom BRSR is applicable. मैं आपको एक या दो क्वेश्चंस दिखाता हूं, आपको एक ब्रीफ आइडिया लग जाएगा. तो आई एम स्किपिंग सेक्शन ए, आई एम स्किपिंग सेक्शन ए एंड सेक्शन बी. Straightforward come to section C. Section C is principle wise performance disclosures on 9 principles. So एक दो चीजें देखते हैं बस, उसके बाद मैं इसको रैप अप करता हूं, देखिएगा. So principle 1 पर क्या क्वेश्चन पूछा? SEBI is asking you these questions on principle 1. If you see, principle 1 is businesses should conduct and govern themselves with integrity in a manner that is ethical, transparent and accountable. So इस वाले principle पर what is the question? Question number 1. Percentage coverage by training and awareness programs on any of the principles during the financial year. So यहाँ पर वो पूछते हैं आपसे, SEBI पूछता है आपसे कि please tell us what is the percentage of people covered by your training programs and what are the segments of people? Board of directors, KMPs, employees other than board of directors and KMPs, workers. तो क्या क्या ट्रेनिंग इन लोगों को दी गई on the NGRBC principle? आप उसकी डिटेल दीजिए percentage wise. Second question is on principle 1. Again, the second question is details of fines, penalties, punishments, award, etc. as per materially defined in SEBI guidelines. तो यहां पर क्या पूछ रहे हैं वो? प्रिंसिपल क्या था कि आप अपना बिजनेस इंटेग्रिटी से करते हैं कि नहीं करते हैं, आप अपना बिजनेस एथिकल मैनर में करते हैं कि नहीं करते हैं. भाई अगर आपका बिजनेस इंटेग्रिटी तरीके से होता है, एथिकल तरीके से होता है, तो पेनल्टी नहीं लगना चाहिए, फाइन नहीं लगना चाहिए. तो पूछा गया क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 में कि आप इस फॉर्मेट में, अब फॉर्मेट देखिएगा, आप इस फॉर्मेट में बताएं कि क्या कोई फाइन पेनल्टी वगैरह लगा है आप पर, तो उसकी डिटेल्स दीजिए. तो इट इज नथिंग बट अ काइंड ऑफ रूल बुक. Now, when you will fill this format, you have no other choice but to fill the format. Subjectivity somehow is subdued. Similarly, if I proceed further with one more principle, just to have a glance, businesses should provide goods and services in a manner that is sustainable and safe. तो यहाँ पर सवाल पूछा, percentage of research and development and capex investment being made by the organization to improve environmental and social impacts. तो अगर आप कोई मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एंटिटी हो तो पूछते हैं आपसे सेबी में कि आप ये बताएं कि आपने ऐसा कौन सा खर्चा किया जिससे ये इंश्योर कर सके कि आप एनवायरमेंटल का डैमेज बचा लेंगे, या एनवायरमेंटल डैमेज हो रहा है तो उसको करेक्ट कर लेंगे, एंड सो ऑन. सो दीज वेज दे आर आस्किंग क्वेश्चंस. ऐसे प्रिंसिपल 3 पे क्वेश्चन है वेलबींग ऑफ एम्प्लॉइज के लिए. ऐसे प्रिंसिपल 4 पे क्वेश्चन है इंटरेस्ट एंड रिस्पॉन्सिवनेस ऑफ स्टेक होल्डर्स के लिए. आप देखिए यहाँ पर पूछा भी है इन्होंने, लिस्ट ऑफ स्टेक होल्डर ग्रुप्स एंड वेदर एनी ग्रुप इज वल्नरेबल और मार्जिनलाइज्ड ग्रुप. Then is principle 5, promote human rights. तो ह्यूमन राइट्स के लिए सवाल पूछा है. अब देखिए अगर मैं एक छोटा एग्जांपल दूं ह्यूमन राइट्स वाले क्वेश्चन में, दे आर आस्किंग आर यू हैविंग एनी चाइल्ड लेबर, फोर्स्ड लेबर, इज देयर एनी केस ऑफ सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट, डिस्क्रिमिनेशन एट वर्क प्लेस, वेजेस एटसेट्रा. सो ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर बीइंग आस्क्ड. प्रिंसिपल 6 में देखिए रिस्पेक्ट एंड प्रोटेक्ट रिस्टोर द एनवायरमेंट, एनवायरमेंटल के ऊपर सवाल पूछा गया है. नंबर 7 इज अबाउट पॉलिसी एडवोकेसी. तो पॉलिसी एडवोकेसी पर सवाल पूछा, जैसे एग्जांपल लेते हैं पॉलिसी एडवोकेसी वाले सवाल में जो क्वेश्चन है वो है लिस्ट ऑफ टॉप 10 ट्रेड एंड इंडस्ट्री चैम्बर जिसके आप मेंबर हैं, तो उसके बारे में बताना है आपको. देन इज प्रिंसिपल 8, आर यू प्रमोटिंग इंक्लूसिव एंड इक्विटेबल डेवलपमेंट, उसके बारे में बताना है. लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल डिटेल्स ऑफ सोशल इंपैक्ट असेसमेंट, लाइक दिल्ली मेट्रो रेल कॉर्पोरेशन जब मेट्रो बना यहाँ पर दिल्ली में, तो दे कैरिड आउट सोशल इंपैक्ट असेसमेंट. तो जो सोशल इंपैक्ट असेसमेंट है वो क्या बताता है कि सोसाइटी को एट लार्ज कोई नुकसान तो नहीं हो रहा. दैट नीड्स टू बी रिपोर्टेड ओवर हियर. देन द लास्ट प्रिंसिपल इज प्रिंसिपल नंबर 9, दैट इज कंज्यूमर्स रिस्पांसिबिलिटी विद ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. यहां पर बताना है आपको डिस्क्राइब द मैकेनिज्म इन प्लेस टू रिसीव एंड रिस्पॉन्ड टू कंज्यूमर कंप्लेंट्स एंड फीडबैक. आजकल आप देखते हैं छोटा एग्जांपल है, वी हैव गूगल रिव्यूज. ना गूगल रिव्यूज पर अगर आप जाएं तो पीपल आर गिविंग रिव्यूज प्लस माइनस नेगेटिव गुड बैड रिव्यूज for any organization. Those reviews are also kind of feedback, and that feedback you need to capture into while reporting under principle number 9. So what I'm trying to say as a matter of conclusion, total 9 principles are factored by SEBI in a rule book called as BRSR format, and by virtue of this format, transition from IR, which was on subjectivity basis, has been made into objectivity basis via BRSR format. So this is a crisp ending from my side because things are quite large in number to be discussed. तो मेरी तरफ से इतना ही है. कोई आपका सवाल हो, कोई क्वेश्चन हो तो मुझसे पूछ सकते हैं. Otherwise, this is it from my side.
Sir, Anurag sir, if you permit, मैं एक question पूछ लूं? Because leaving Kamal sir without answering a question would be injustice.
Yeah, of course.
Sir, Kamal sir, as we understand, as industry practitioners, हमें एक rule book मिल जाए तो we are very happy, because we are in India very happy with the checklist format.
Yes.
But the problem is, and that is why we are, I think, more happy to have the BRSR than integrated reporting, क्योंकि वो principle था, it was subjective. Now we have a concrete BRSR checklist where we can map things. It is much more easier. But इससे, the general mentality, do you think, has it been towards just tick box compliance या फिर qualitative aspect आ पाएगा इससे?
बनर्जी साहब, मैं आपके क्वेश्चन पर एक दूसरा सवाल पूछता हूँ.
बिल्कुल सर.
Let us assume, obviously assumption is hypothetical, but still let us assume कि सेबी का BRSR requirement नहीं है. Second assumption is, let us again assume सेबी का BRR requirement नहीं था. In past, it was BRR, which became BRSR now. So my question is, in the absence of BRR and BRSR, we Indian corporates, whether we were not reporting anything on these things, तो मुझे इसका जवाब दीजिए.
We were, in a way, we were because we were.
मैं आपको एग्जांपल देता हूं.
CSR की ओवरलैपिंग भी हो जाती है. CSR,
चलिए CSR को ही भूल जाइए कि CSR भी नहीं है आज की डेट में.
नहीं है.
तो अगर हम आज से 6-7 साल पीछे जाएं, जब हमारे पास कंपनीज एक्ट 1956 था, तब भी सर रिपोर्टिंग होती थी BRSR की. लोग करते नहीं थे, वो बात अलग है. उसका नाम BRSR नहीं था, वो बात अलग है. एग्जांपल लेते हैं. We were having director's report. In director's report, we were supposed to report upon energy conservation. We were supposed to report upon median salary and average salary of employees. So ये क्या था बेसिकली? रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी रिपोर्टिंग ही तो था. अब अगर आप आ जाए अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड्स में या इंड एएस में, पुराने टाइम पर होता था अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड 29, अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड 1, उसमें बताना पड़ता था कि वेदर एंटरप्राइज इज फेसिंग एनी अनसर्टेनिटी अबाउट फ्यूचर. ऑनेस्टली लोग बताते नहीं थे, बट वो था तो BRSR ही. So what I'm trying to say, even if we are going into BRSR from the old regime, the real intent still is in the mind. So unless and until you will be clean by your mind. So पहले तो जरूरी क्या है, जब भी हम BRSR रिपोर्ट करें ना, तो पेपर वर्क पर तो प्रिंसिपल 1 बाद में लगाएं NGRBC का. माइंड में पहले लगाना है प्रिंसिपल 1 कि एज रिपोर्टर मैं कितना एथिकल हूं.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. And I think this is where, I mean, this is why we connected you with a person from Tata. Okay, we all know as a case study also, even as a business case study, that their endeavors in society maybe is a benchmark in what we know as CSR today.
And because people from Tata are here, I don't know them personally, but yes, I can give a
Anurag Priyadarshi ji, just to
Anurag
introduce,
I can give a
he's the head
compliment. And it must be a kind of universal compliment to each one of us also.
Right.
कितनी कॉर्पोरेट सर ऐसी हैं बनर्जी साहब जो टाटा की रिपोर्ट को यूज करती हैं अपना रिपोर्ट का फॉर्मेट बनाने के लिए.
Right.
So मुझे तो लगता है कि सेबी का फॉर्मेट जो है उसमें भी लोग इंतजार करेंगे कि टाटा की रिपोर्ट अभी आ जाएगी मई के मिडल तक, तो उसी को कॉपी कर लेंगे, फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स टाटा की रिपोर्ट से उठा लेंगे.
बिल्कुल.
So that is going on, but the thing is we have to be into it. Ultimate choice is ours.
So I think,
are we into fault finding or remedy finding? That is the basic question.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. So I hope the participants now understand the jugalbandi we had between, or rather the jugalbandi we tried to create between a practicing person and industry. These two things are so integrated. So that is why, Kamalji, I think we thank you from the bottom of our heart for setting the tone and taking things so coolly. Matlab, it was indeed a very crisp presentation, and I think you have set the tone, and most people who were not aware of how to understand, interpret, I think they'll be looking at it with a different perspective.
Thank
So
you,
it
sir.
is
Thank
more
you.
than a reporting thing. It is like you said, ethics hai, understanding hai. We were doing it much before, but now it is only labeled. So let us not go into labeling. We should also think of the ethics and practices. So
Sir,
thank you.
on a lighter note, I should say, जब भी इस तरह के इवेंट्स होते हैं, तो जो कोऑर्डिनेट करते हैं इवेंट को, जैसे अभी आप बनर्जी साहब आप कोऑर्डिनेट कर रहे हैं, तो जितनी भी मैंने पीपीटीज के ऊपर बात की, आपने उसका सारांश दिया, कंक्लूजन किया. दिस कंक्लूजन इज नथिंग बट इंटीग्रेटेड रिपोर्टिंग.
Integrate, right. So, Shubhranshu sir, if you may put in a few words, sir, for Kamalji.
Thank you very much. Kamalji is always a person to listen to, and it is great. And you could have taken classes for our students also, sir. I think it is. We will definitely try to have you sometimes here. गौरव जी के साथ बात करके एक बार कुछ करते हैं. एक बार आप आइए.
जी जरूर सर.
इसमें बात करिए. And as you have ended with a note that everything should come from heart. Otherwise, reporting, सब कुछ तो ठीक है. And we people are very intelligent people, no? And that's why when intelligent people do the reporting, it is something else. So unless and until it is our conscience in our heart, no regulations, no rule, no act can make anything. Thank you, Kamalji. Thank you very much. Now we are eagerly waiting to listen to Anurag Priyadarshi ji.
So, sir, if you allow, can I also listen his lecture? I will be gaining
Bilkul,
something.
sir, yeah.
Oh, sir, please, please,
Please.
please. As he told me, it is a continuation to your things only.
Thank you,
Great,
sir.
sir. Yeah. Anurag Priyadarshi ji, yesterday we had a very short note from him as the guest of honor in the inaugural session. Anurag Priyadarshi ji is currently the director sustainability at Tata Consumer Products Limited. He has an illustrious career. For students, you should know, normally we begin with the academic career also. He has done his MSc in chemistry from University of Rajasthan, and then PhD in environmental management and sustainable development from Jawaharlal Nehru University. He has his training at University of Cambridge, University of Michigan, and Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. And he has a wide career in his credit. He has been at the FICCI as a consultant. He was in Sony. He was in Det Noxe Veritas for around a long period of around 3 years. He was with the IKEA group for around almost 8 years. And then since March 2013, he is with Tata Consumer Products Limited, and now heading a very, very important aspect of Tata, as everybody talks about Tata, not only on the product, not only on the other services, but also on the basis of the things which they do for the society, which they do for the environment, climate, etc. So we are getting a person who can tell us, who can tell the audience here, which is a mixed group of people, to talk about the sustainable reporting things that Tata is doing under him. Over to you, Anurag sir, to address the audience.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Sarkar, Amitavaji, Kamalji. Thank you for setting the tone. It's absolutely wonderful to speak to all the students, all our colleagues, senior and my colleagues. Thank you so much for joining. I hope I can share some good experiences which can, build on what you've already learned. And to start with, just to revise what we thought yesterday. And the reason I'm telling this is especially for young people, as you're going to go into your academics and then go into working. How do you evaluate any project on sustainability if you're going to work on it? Do look at these 4 key factors that I'm talking about, the Chaturbhuj model. Look at the partners who are part of that project. Look at the motivations. Why does a company join a CSR project or a sustainability project? And then look at the type of commitments that they're making in terms of timelines, funding, targets, and leadership. and finally, what is the process in that is going to drive it. So quickly summarizing that and moving ahead to national guidelines on responsible business conduct. I think, for some companies like us, we've been doing a lot of reporting. I think, we do almost one reporting every month. So about 12 reportings a year is for sure. So I'll just list them out, not necessarily in order of importance. But can you see my screen? Just confirm to me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay, thank you. So, we do a global reporting initiative, GRI, which is the sustainability report. Do go to our website, tataconsumer.com, and have a look at that report. It's quite interesting. Then we also do, of course, from the Indian regulatory perspective, we do earlier the BRR report and now the BRSR report. And also we do the CSR Annexure 1, the CSR report, which all goes into our annual report for the year. Apart from that, ESG reporting includes, I mentioned, there's the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, there is GRI reporting, then there are some rating agencies which are coming from investors. So investors are looking to put a lot of money into ESG funds, trillions of dollars now. And because of that, so these investor agencies become very important, and we are talking about one organization called MSCI, which is Morgan Stanley's. It was connected to Morgan Stanley. Now it's independent. MSCI does its own ESG report for every company. So these are risk ratings. They have certain risk criteria, almost 100 risk criteria, and they look at the company in terms of how this company is performing for different risks and where they can be rated vis-a-vis your peers, your industry groups. So there is another one called Sustainalytics, which is a Morningstar company. CDP is another, you must look for it, cdp.india. And CDP is an international organization. It's backed by investors with more than 100 trillion assets. CDP has reporting for climate, it has reporting for water, it has reporting for forest. So all separate reportings, very interesting reports. We've been reporting in that for more than 10 years. We are on the CDP leadership index for the last many years, and it's primarily focused on the climate part, and then there's water. It's about risks, it's about opportunities, it's about governance, it's about your quantification, what's your greenhouse gas emissions, indirect, direct, greenhouse gas emissions in your supply chain. It's about renewable energy. What is your strategy? What are your targets? So a very exhaustive one. Again, these are also publicly available. You can go into the CDP website. You can actually look into, you have to register, but after you've registered, you can look into other companies. What is their CDP score? What do they disclose? Absolutely fascinating thing to read and study. So for young people, I'm especially, going to suggest to you what all things you must, if you want to know about a company when they are doing things on sustainability, look into their annual report. That's number one. In the annual report, look into the BRR or the BRSR, look into the Annexure 1, that will tell you all the CSR projects. Apart from that, many companies in the annual report give some descriptions of what they are doing. A short description of various initiatives they are doing, also in their director's report. So annual report is one. Then if company has a sustainability report or they have a section of sustainability on their website, go into that, make notes. You'll understand what this company is doing from sustainability or CSR, what are the programs, projects, even career opportunities. Some of it will be there. Then you can also look into CDP, go to the CDP website, and you can look into what this company is disclosing for CDP. You can go to Sustainalytics website and it will tell you how what is the rating for every company. They don't really give you details of the specific risk analysis, but they'll give you the risk rating. So you can understand how some companies rated higher, some companies rated lower. You get a wide view of all different companies. So the reason I'm saying all this is when we do so much of, and then I have my internal reports which I have to give to my my CEO every quarter and to my executive director. I have to give report to my board of CSR committee of the board twice a year. So all of this put together means I have, and then of course there are some other international agreements that we have signed, like the UN Global Compact. So that also requires us to give out a report every once a year. All of this put together, huge number of reporting we do on ESG. And therefore, when it comes to BRR or BRSR, it's really not, the information is there. We just have to put it in a specific format, which the BRSR is asking for. So the information is lying in different other reports, every other places. We just put it here and we can put it in the GRI sustainability report. We try to put up most of our information there. So these are the 9 principles. Kamalji talked about it, and I'm not going to repeat it, but what I will do is, while as a company, we do the BRSR report, and you can read it in the annual report when it comes out in another 2-3 months. But what I will do is I will focus on the values behind this this particular principle. How do we incorporate it into our organization? How do we internalize it? How do we talk about it? And eventually all of this flows into the BRSR or any other ESG report. So you can see P1 here, which means the first principle on the top right side. And this was talking about ethics, about integrity, about transparency, about accountability. And Kamalji absolutely told in the BRSR how each one of this has to be reported in terms of what are the trainings around the national guidelines that we are doing for principle 1, 2, 3, and 4. So many other things of reporting. But I think for us, the crux is, the value system of the Tata Group in terms of what did our founder talk about. He talked about that in a free enterprise, the community is not just another stakeholder, but we exist because of it 150 years back. This was much before, all these things were popular anywhere in the world. So Tata Group, absolutely for us, community is at the center. They are not just another stakeholder, but they are at the center of everything that we do. I think that's so vital for us. The second thing that I want to talk when we are talking about integrity and ethics is, for us, this is zero tolerance. As a company policy, we have strong governance, we have an independent board, we have absolute transparency, we have whistleblower mechanism, we have internal policies, and all of this is there to ensure that we do not cut any corners. And I can give you so many examples in terms of, and what I'll do is I'll try and tell you 1 or 2, stories. How do we as a Tata Group live by the principles, which is mainly our value system. And that Tata Group actually is in some ways a leader in not just in India, but in many parts of the world when it comes to providing various worker welfare measures. We are one of the first companies, when Mr. Jamshedji Tata opened the Empress Mills in India, the first textile mill, we also put up the hydroelectric power project in Bombay. The first hydroelectric actually came up in 1900 because the founder saw that there is so much of the thermal power plant was causing so much of pollution. And this is almost 120 years ago. He said, let's put up a hydroelectric project. So that one came up 100 years back. That's the sort of vision. There was another instance where when Jamshedpur, the city was being built, the guideline was very clear that please build a city which has got wide roads, which has got millions of trees on both sides of the roads. And that's how, if you go to Jamshedpur, you will see it's very, very green. It's got so many trees, I think about 5 million trees in Jamshedpur and surrounding areas. So all of this gets built into our ethics. I'll give you one small example, which is more, in terms of how, also you will go on to work with different companies, especially for the young people, and you will realize that a company is a good company if it can stand by its ethics. A company has to stand for its ethics, right? You cannot compromise on your ethics. And how do you do that? You do that when you are able to take business consequences. When you are able to take business consequences for your ethics, it means you are actually standing for it. And when I say business consequence, you can take losses. So I'll give you one example, which is very, very close to you. There is a tea garden called Hathikuli. Hathikuli is in Assam, and it is owned by the erstwhile Tata Tea. Now the name of that is called Amalgamated Plantations. So Amalgamated Plantations is now a subsidiary of Tata Consumer Products, and the Hathikuli Tea Garden is one of the world's largest organic tea garden. So most of the, when we say organic, what we mean we don't use chemicals, we don't use fertilizers, we don't use pesticides, and we made it organic. But the flip side is, while it is organic, it makes losses. This tea garden makes a lot of losses. It has a cumulative loss of more than 25 crore rupees. Why is that? It makes losses because it is organic. So that's a sad thing in the Indian context, because organic tea does not have a great market. You know, people, because when you make anything organic, your yield falls down, which means the per hectare of tea will go down, because you're not using chemicals, you're not using fertilizers, you're not using pesticide. Pest will attack it. It is not getting a sufficient nutrition, and therefore, and in Assam there's a lot of pests, right? So they attack on the tea bushes, means that you lose a lot of tea. So usually organics have 50% lower yield, whichever crop you see. But we do not get that much of money when we sell that tea. So we make losses. Year on year, there is losses, and accumulated about 30 crore rupees. So why do we continue to make losses? Why don't we convert Hathikuli into, from an organic tea garden? Small part is inorganic, but the large part of Hathikuli is organic. So why don't we convert it back into inorganic? Why don't we stop making losses? Why don't we, just say that, let's not have it as organic garden? What is the reason? The reason is that Hathikuli Tea Estate is located next to Kaziranga National Park. And Kaziranga National Park is the world's biggest habitat for one-horned rhinos. So we, as a conscious company, we know that if we use chemicals, pesticide, fertilizers in Hathikuli, which is next door, there's no barrier also, there's no fencing. So if we use any chemical, it will flow to Kaziranga and it will affect the habitat of the rhinos, of the elephants, of other beautiful wildlife there. So consciously, this is an ethical decision. We as a company have taken an ethical decision. We will keep Hathikuli organic. We will not use chemicals, fertilizers, pesticides there. It is an ethical decision. We will make losses. It's perfectly okay. And we have, in these 10 years I've worked here, 9 years, my company has never talked about the fact that let's convert Hathikuli back into inorganic. Let's start using chemicals. No, we are very committed on this. We are committed on our ethics. We say Hathikuli will remain organic so that the habitat of the rhinos will not get affected. There are other tea gardens nearby. If you travel on the highway, you will see there are many other tea gardens, and they may be inorganic. They may be using chemicals and fertilizers, but we don't. So we stand by our values, and I think that's so inbuilt, into our core working. Now, this is, the reason I'm telling this is something which a BRSR will never capture. This is something which we can only, it's built into our values. BRSR, we will write what the format is asking for, perfectly, exactly what it is required. And we do much more than what the compliance requirement is. But for us, ethics, transparency is built into our business. It's built into our the way we do our work. Now, next I'll come to Tata Consumer Products. And what I will do is, I just want to, because you're all young people, and I want you to, I know that all of you have your dreams, and I want you to live your dreams, right? I want you to have some, I'm sure you all have great dreams, and I really want you to be able to fulfill your dreams. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to show you a small video which will probably encourage you to fulfill your dreams. So just give me a minute. This is a video. I have to figure out how to I'll just switch off my camera for a minute. I should be able to share my this thing. No?
Sir, you can share it in a tab.
I'll share
With,
my.
with this audio clip. That one.
I'll share it. I'll just a minute. I'll share it. Okay, can you see the screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
We
sir.
all have dreams, but a vision is what guides us. Do you envision a better tomorrow? Do you dream of driving powerful change? At Tata Consumer Products, our vision is to build better lives and thriving communities. And how do we get there? By passionately growing and innovating every day. To us, the means matter as much as the end. So, we march towards our goal by firmly holding on to our values. Integrity. Remain fair, transparent, responsible and ethical in our conduct. Agility. Be proactive, adaptive, and quick to respond to the market. Excellence. Always be driven to deliver to the highest standards for the company and our own development. Empathy. To understand before we act, encourage diversity of thought, and work together to build real value. Ownership. To take full responsibility for our actions and to nurture the communities we work in. So dream with purpose and show the world how we aim high, take risks, break barriers, and stay determined to create, nurture, and grow, all to make lives better. Tata Consumer Products for better. We all have dreams.
So I hope that was visible to all of you.
Yes,
Yes, sir. Great, sir.
Yeah, and you can hear the sound also.
Great. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, for the young people, I think it's important to dream. And it's important, and I'm confident that if you dream and dream good, if you have some good intentions, you have goals which are achievable, you will achieve it. Just take one step every day, one small step, and I'm sure you will get there. So keep marching, and I will go ahead with my slides. I think we have time till 6:30, right? So let me go back to the slide. Yeah, sometimes. Let me see.
Not coming, sir.
Yeah, somehow the tab is not showing. Maybe I if I share my screen.
You can share the screen and then that PPT.
Then okay. Okay, is the PPT visible?
Yeah.
Okay.
Done, sir.
Excellent. So just going quickly now in terms of impact, scale, and scope. We have various projects, and we work with volunteers. It's a very important thing. I'll come to that. But now the second principle, which is about safe and sustainable goods and services. Now you look at us, look at the product portfolio that our company has, and you see I spoke about Tata Salt, which is important source of iodine. We also have now low sodium. We have iron based salts, because a lot of communities within India, especially women, have iron deficiencies. Our spices are natural. We have glucose. Unpolished pulses, very important, because when you polish the pulses, you're removing a lot of nutrient. And also the when you're polishing, the lubricant which is used, it may not be of good quality. We have teas which have vitamins, we have Ayurvedic teas. So absolutely focused in terms of providing good, safe and sustainable goods. And in our case, these are food products. So we are very, very conscious. Uh, and super grains, things like ragi and barley and some of the ancient millets, they have been forgotten in our young people when we are eating our pizza and burger. So it's important that we don't forget that. We have a lot of good things for young people, for children, based on these very healthy foods we provide. So for us, providing healthy food is important. Health and nutrition is very, very important. And that's how we are able to look at principle number 2, which is about safe and sustainable goods and services. Then principle 3 is about well-being of employees. And here I'm talking about volunteering. I'll talk about well-being of employees. And when we are saying well-being of employees, it's all about safety. It's about the grievance redressal mechanisms. It's about safety in workplace. So we monitor all those parameters. There are like 50 odd parameters on safety itself that we monitor every site, every month. Diversity, gender diversity, then differently abled people, which that also comes in the inclusivity. Volunteering is very important for us in terms of engagement. And we are one of the world's largest corporate volunteers, the Tata Group. They do more than 1.25 million volunteers. It's so inbuilt into the company, every year, twice a year actually, in the month of March and in the month of September, thousands and thousands of our employees go out and volunteer everywhere you go, and we are encouraged to go out and volunteer. I mean, it's so long as your work is not affected, but usually the manager plans it in such a way that your employees can be free for 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours. They can go and do volunteering. We also have volunteering programs where you can go and volunteer on the weekends. So you have a skill. You are, for example, a very good, you are an IT person, you know how to develop a website. You are working in the IT department in your company. So you can go and work in an NGO on the weekends. On Saturdays and Sundays, you will volunteer and help an NGO to build their website, to put good content there. Because NGO may not have that capability, right? So people go and do that work also. That is also, so this is called Tata Engage, the volunteering program. And there is another third type of a volunteering. The first type I talked about is for 2 hours, 4 hours. The second one is on weekend volunteering. The third one is a bigger one where you can also go and volunteer for 6 months. If the company has the time and they can relieve you, and there are many of our colleagues, my colleagues have gone for 3 months. 3 months you're going and working in an NGO, saying, we are going to work with this NGO and we are going to support them in doing something where our professional ability, if we are good in marketing, we will go and help the NGO in doing marketing of their services or their products. So for us, volunteering is at the heart of getting all our people engaged. Of course, there are so many other things in terms of in principle 3 about the well-being of employees. Diversity is very important. So gender diversity is tracked, not just across the organization, but in different levels at the low worker level. So we have levels like L1, L2, L3, L4, L5, whatever. So every level, what is the gender diversity? Then we have gender diversity pay gap. So which means what is a pay gap between male and female at every level? And we have to make sure that, and we disclose this also. So the ESG, the investor agency is asking, and therefore we have to make sure that our gender diversity, they are also asking what is your gender ratio in the board? How many directors are there at the level of a board? And therefore for us, increasingly very important to have diversity across the organization from top to bottom. I'll move to the next one, which is respect and responsibilities to all stakeholders. So if you look into this slide, all stakeholders are consumers, workers and farmers, communities, employees, business associates. BRSR, we will report, what is asked there. But in essence, what is it about? How do we take care of all our stakeholders through through various projects and programs? Maybe yesterday I briefly touched upon what we do, not just in India, but also in Malawi. This is not something we can report. In the BRSR, they only ask us to report for India for now. But we do a lot of work in Malawi, which is also one of the tea growing areas, important tea growing areas. So children in Malawi have, in the tea gardens, they do not get to have a very safe, very healthy childhood, because the parents go to work in the tea gardens and children are left behind, nothing to do. So we are helping them to build childhood development centers. This is something where young children between the age of 0 and 5, they can be, it's not like creche, it's slightly more than creche, something between a creche and a nursery school, where they can go, they can be there for 10 hours, 12 hours, they'll get food, they'll get education, they'll be taken care of, medicines, everything. So we are working with the United Nations Children Fund to put up these childhood development centers. I mean, children are, the most important people in this world, right? If a child grows up well, and in Malawi, what they have calculated is that for every dollar that is spent on childhood development, the return on investment is $13. So 1:13 is the rate of return. And therefore, absolutely vital. Children are growing well. I think the Malawi tea industry, the Malawi country, the Malawi society will benefit. Similarly, so many other projects for the tea industry, tea gardens, not just in India, but in Malawi. We run hospitals, again, under Principle 4, if you're talking about responsibilities to all stakeholders. We run hospitals, we fund these hospitals. And Professor Sarkar, Amitava, I mean, you know about the hospital in Chapwa. It is the first hospital in Assam which had telemedicine facility, right? So that's unique, and through that telemedicine, they are able to provide support, medical support, and it's affordable healthcare, almost free of cost to all the people who are working in the tea gardens across Assam. I mean, whether you are located near Guwahati, near places like Keliden and Nanoi, but the hospital is near Dibrugarh, but through telemedicine, they are able to provide that sort of a support. We are very focused on mother and children, and through our interventions, we've been able to reduce maternal mortality and infant mortality, which was, that in Assam, these are indicators that we are not very proud of. So we want to contribute in improving those indicators. But the hospitals are not only for the tea and coffee communities, they are also for everybody. Everybody can walk in. It's affordable healthcare. Tribals are also welcome. During the time of COVID, we converted a lot of this into COVID care with beds and isolation wards, etc., etc. A lot of upgradation was done, fortunately, in time, and we were able to help the communities quite a bit. We also support in Kolkata. This is a center called St. Jude India Childcare Center, which is for children who go to Tata Medical Center for treatment of cancer. They don't have a place to stay, if they're going from far places. And so they can go with their parents and they stay. The good thing with children is if the cancer is detected on time, almost 95% is cured. So we are very proud of this association with St. Jude India Childcare Center. Where children go, they stay during the time of treatment. They go to the Tata Medical Center, but they stay in this home. This is like a home for them. They get food, they get education, and this treatment can go on for 2 months, 3 months. But a beautiful thing. If you are going to Kolkata, please visit this place. You must see the smile on the face of the children, despite all the adversity. I mean, they are going through such a painful time. But when you see them smile, talk, play, laugh, I think, it takes away your troubles. Your troubles just go away. We also support in in Canada, Tetley is the largest tea brand in Canada, second largest in UK. So we are supporting Canadian Cancer Society for breast cancer research, educating women about early detection and providing support services. And we do this in a very innovative way. So the pink pack, and you can see on the pack, there's the pink ribbon that indicates support for cancer. This pack is actually designed by consumers. So we do a pink pack and we design it with consumers. Consumer then choose it on Facebook. We give them some 10 designs and they say this is the best one. And based on that survey, we are able to, and for every pack which is sold, we give, I think, 20 cents or 30 cents, something like that, is given to the Canadian Cancer Society. So another initiative with the communities. Also, when we are coming to fourth principle, which is of for all stakeholders, this is, I talked about this yesterday. Trustee, which is the world's largest sustainable agricultural certification, this has improved lives of communities, and we are here engaging with farmers, small farmers, big farmers, women workers, men workers. You can see 80,000 small growers have benefited by understanding sustainable agricultural practices. The aim has been to democratize sustainable agricultural practices. And similarly, not just in India, but in other geographies, we work with the Rainforest Alliance, which is similar to Trustee program, but for the Tetley brand. This is all our Tetley tea is Rainforest Alliance certified. So we are telling our consumers that the tea you're buying is coming from good sources, it's of good quality, the workers are getting their wages, they are living in a good life. Chemicals and fertilizers, pesticides are not being used, banned pesticides are not used. We are transforming livelihoods. The fifth one, principle 5 is about respecting and promoting human rights. Very important thing, because human right is a right which is inviolable. I mean, it's a right which you have simply because you are human beings. It's not a right which the government has to give you. It's not a right which your family, your parents, or anybody will give you. It's a right you have simply because you're born human. It's for everybody in the world, right? So we need to respect, we need to promote human right. Human right is very wide. I mean, it's a huge, you have the right to life, right to livelihood, all these things in your constitution. But beyond that, I mean, no child labor, no forced and bonded labor. In India, a lot of brick kilns, if you read the newspaper, the brick kilns have a lot of bonded labor, right? And they call it, what they call it, blood bricks. So if you go to mining in Africa, there's a lot of children working there. And in some of the agricultural commodities, children working. So all this is a violation of human rights. Apart from this, I think there is also a right to clean air, right to clean water. Water is a human right for sure. Air is clean air is a human right. Because without that, we cannot live healthily, our families cannot live, children can suffer. And in Delhi, when the air quality goes bad, they actually close down the school. So when the right to air is affected, the right to education also gets affected, which is such a sad thing. So we are very conscious of it. And one area where we focus through one of our programs with the UNICEF, United Nations Children Fund, is in Assam, reaching out to more than 3 lakh community members on education, health and nutrition, water and sanitation challenges. It's very, very, I mean, we have got more than 50 indicators we are tracking around health, around literacy, around nutrition. It's connected to the government program. There are adolescent girl groups, and which is helping the girls stay in school. So we are seeing the absenteeism, dropout rates, they are much lower. Child marriages, which were so common about 10 years back, now they're not happening because the tea gardens have been educated. The managers, we've told the managers, it's your responsibility. Assistant managers in tea gardens, make sure there are no child marriages in your estate. And so we are seeing no more child marriages in the tea gardens, where 200 plus tea gardens, which is about 25% of the tea gardens. We will expand the project in the coming years. Even during COVID, it was very useful because these groups, adolescent girl group or mother club, or community groups, they could come together, they could educate each other. They made their own masks, they stitched their own mask to use. They also stitched masks for the government authorities. The district administration wanted masks for their sanitation workers or for their staff. So in the tea gardens, they were stitching masks and giving it to the government also. Reaching out to pregnant women, I mean, we really, you can see 96% deliveries in hospital, and this is unique. I mean, earlier there was a lot of maternal mortality, but now because of the reach of the program, we are making sure that deliveries are happening in hospital, meaning safe deliveries. A lot of things I can talk about it, but do look up to this UNICEF Improving Life program. You can find it on website, videos, etc. And then principle 6 is around protecting and restoring the environment. I think I'm already beyond time. Maybe give me 5 minutes, Professor Sarkar, if I can.
Yes, sir.
Environment absolutely vital for us. I mean, environmental sustainability, like I said, we have a climate strategy through which we are focused on net zero and science-based target, which means that by a certain date, and we are looking at 2030 to be that date, we will be net zero in emissions, which means that we will not emit any greenhouse gases. Whatever we are emitting little bit, so how we will do it is we'll convert most of it to renewables, and there may be some which cannot be converted to renewables, that all of that we will offset it. So we will have projects which can offset the greenhouse gases that we are emitting. Offset means something like trading or putting up a project which can compensate for the greenhouse gases you are emitting. So we want to be a renewable energy 50% by 2025. Now cost of solar has gone down. It's quite competitive, so we should be able to do that. Also, plastic packaging is something I'm sure you're all conscious of. It can be quite a nuisance around us. It's definitely a nuisance for animals, wildlife, for even in fishes in the oceans. We can find a lot of plastic in their bodies. So consciously, we are moving to 100% recyclable packaging by 2030. We are a founding member of the India Plastic Pact. We also do a lot of water project in Assam, in Himachal. In Assam, we are doing it in the district of Jorhat, in some of the tea gardens where the iron content is very high. So what we are doing is we are setting up some iron removal systems. We are putting up some water ATMs. So water ATMs, there's a water machine, you go, you have to put some money, then it will give you water. We want the community to take ownership of this through Project Jalodari, which is an interesting initiative because people are not used in India to pay for water, right? We want water free. We can pay for Coca-Cola, we can pay for some of the other beverages, but we will not want to pay for water, which is rather sad, and that has to change. So people in cities, we are already paying for water. We pay a lot for water, but everywhere to get good clean water, we have to be very, very. We have to create water stewardship everywhere, and of course we work a lot. I mean, we are very conscious that the sanitation workers, the waste pickers, they are important partners for us. They keep the city clean. They pick up all the plastic packaging. They are helping in recycling the packaging. They are helping in keeping the city clean, helping composting our food. And definitely, one of the very we invited some of these waste pickers, the rack pickers, to our office in one of our office meeting. We asked them to speak about their experiences, and they told us how tough their life is. They actually live on the just next to the waste. Every city has these places where there's a lot of waste dumps, and they have these huts just near to that. I visited a lot of them. We do a lot of programs for them. We want to help improve their lives. But when they came to our office and they told us that, sir, can you please, segregate your food waste? I mean, aapka jhootha khana hai na, you're throwing it away, and they have to actually clean that. They have to do it with their hands. Sometimes they don't even have gloves. I mean, we in our training, we try to provide, and other companies also, through the extended producer responsibility, we are going to these waste pickers, we are giving them personal protective equipments. But they came to our office and told us, to all our office people, please, segregate your waste. Put your dry waste separately, food waste separately, sanitary waste separately, because it affects their life. And I think that was a strong message which went into my office. I'm sure all my colleagues are doing that now. And finally, I want to, you had, the last one is providing, we were talking about inclusive growth and equitable development, which is principle number 8. So I'll just go back to this slide. I think for us, inclusive development, very vital. And we have affirmative action policy. One of the few companies in India which has affirmative action policy. When we say affirmative action policy, it means we have a diversity inclusion policy. We want to be inclusive, especially for Adivasis, especially for tribals, especially for marginalized women who don't get opportunities, for differently abled people. All of them are important for the company. So we don't discriminate right from the time of employment, you applying for a job, till the time that you retire. You are all, we are one big family. So there is no discrimination in the organization, and it's a very, we need to be inclusive. I think corporates everywhere need to be inclusive, because we believe that everybody has a potential. They can contribute in the organization's growth and development. So everybody participates. You can read about the Tata Affirmative Action Policy on the Tata Group's website or our website. And finally, provide value to consumers and to consume responsibly. I think we tell our consumers, our tea is of good quality through our Jagore campaigns. We tell them to consume. I'm sure you've seen our Jagore campaigns. And yesterday I talked about Choti Shuruat was something which, Shah Rukh Khan was very passionate about. He came and talked about, about women issues. And one of his statement, if you see the ad, he said, women are not equal to men. वो आदमी के बराबर नहीं होते, वो उससे आगे होते हैं. So they are, more better developed than men. Do look that ad, it's quite nice. We also did a huge campaign, Power of 49, which was about getting women voters to come out and vote. And this was a very impactful campaign, because after 2014 elections, if you see in many of the state elections, you will find that during Lok Sabha, during Assembly, there are more women voters than men voters. So Power of 49 has been important for us. During the COVID, we did Badon Ke Liye Jagore, which was to help the elderly, because they were the ones who were getting affected because of COVID. Vaccination, they didn't get food, they were isolated, they didn't have medical support, they didn't have. So we've put up this helpline number where they could call, we could provide them medicines, food, even emotional support. They're feeling lonely, they could talk to somebody, so on and so forth. And more recently, we are doing this campaign, which is called Desh Ka Kullad. So I'll just conclude with this small video, and let me share my screen once more, or maybe let me see if this. Can you see this now?
Yes, sir. It's coming on.
देश के कोने कोने की कहानियां सुनाती है ना, ये खाती खाती देखो देश की शान बढ़ाती है. पूरा पश्चिम उत्तर दक्षिण देश के हर एक कोने से पूरा भारत ले आए हम पंजाब की फुलकारी से महाराष्ट्र की वारली, गुजरात की थोड़ा थोड़ा भागे.
तो इस बार जब देश फिर से आजादी का जश्न मनाए, आओ करें सम्मान उन तुम्हारों का जिन्होंने बनाया ये चाय का जब प्याला, वो है इस देश का सबसे निरा। ये है देश की चाय का सलाम अपने देश की मिट्टी को।
Right. So with that, I conclude my presentation, and I hope okay. So I hope that was interesting for the young people, for everybody on this call. Any questions, just let me know. I'll try and answer them.
Oh, sir, thank you very much. Thank you. I think the way 9 principles are described by your own work, it is a great one. We have some students here in the seminar hall,
Right.
but before that, I could see a raised hand. Now the raised hand is not there. Okay. So I thought, okay. So one of our student is there in the seminar hall, sir. He will
Yes.
be interested to ask you a question. Yeah, please.
Yeah, please go ahead. Do tell your name and then tell me the question.
Good evening, sir. My name is Pankaj Kumar Sharma. Sir, I will had a question. So, how do we really know if national guidelines on responsible business conduct has really been implemented in a company? And if we want to assess the implementation, what are the key indicators we should look upon as an investor and also as a customer?
Okay, so thanks a lot. I think that's a very good question. So what you're saying is that how do we look at the implementation of the principles and what are the key indicators? I think there are two ways of doing it. One is, of course, through our internal processes. We do, and second is external. We do get most of the indicators verified when we put it into our sustainability report. The indicators are verified by a certification body as per the AA 1000 standard. Accountability 1000 standard is there, which for GRI indicators, they can be used for verification. At the same time, internally, we do, our internal audit team looks at it. I mean, every indicator, whatever we are going to put across externally, has to be vetted by our internal audit and to some extent through our legal team, and channelized through the communications team, because the communication team will put it in the right format and the right wordings can be used. But yes, so those are the ways we do it.
Pankaj, have you got your answer? Yeah.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. There is a question from Ashim Majumdar. What is the CSR activities in Tripura state? So probably he's from Tripura.
Okay, Ashim. So yeah, Tripura. See, I wish I was working for a company where I could do CSR everywhere, but unfortunately, we have limitations in budget. We have only so much of budget, and we can only focus on certain areas. So my company is not doing. We do not have any CSR project in Assam, except for Trustee. The Trustee Tea program, definitely there are some tea gardens in Tripura. They are part of the Trustee program. They are certified as per the Sustainable Agricultural Standard of Trustee, which means that they are able to get a good premium. The workers are living in good. They're getting good wages, the right wages. They are getting. They're living in good housing, etc. But CSR specifically, we do. My company doesn't have any project in Tripura.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
You referred.
Yeah, you are right, Ashim. Yeah, Tata Trust is working there. So there are 100 Tata companies, and I work only in Tata Consumer Products. So I will not know what are the other companies are doing in Tripura, right? My work is only one company, which is Tata Consumer, which you know as Tata Tea. So from that perspective, I'm saying, but yeah, I know Tata Trust is doing a lot of work in Tripura for sure, and some of the other Tata companies may also be doing. I may not be aware of that.
Thank you, sir. You referred to Hatikuli tea state.
Yes.
We people in Assam is also very fond of that place, because whenever we go to Kaziranga and this, no, for the people who are not from Assam, for the
Right.
information that it is in the Kaziranga greater area, you can say. So anyone tourist coming from Kaziranga, they have to
That's right.
stop over the stall, which is purposively created near the highway so that people can go and take. But the thing is that it is whenever you go for organic, you cannot make profit, which you are candid in doing that.
Right.
So Rohit is asking, Rohit Jain, sir, at Tata, how do you accommodate efforts like Hatikuli, Project Jalodari, etc. in the books of accounts? Do you show it as a CSR?
So, Rohit, that's a very interesting question. What we do is, and what I presented here is we, all the work that we do is not CSR, right? I mean, for us, there is sustainability, there is CSR, there is a responsible business. This nomenclature is essentially for legal purposes, for your book of accounts, for classification, for communication. But for a company like us, even if there was no law, we would have been doing many things. And these things are, Rohit, essentially CSR under Section 135. As per the Annexure 7, Appendix 7, you have to, those few activities, healthcare and education and disaster management and so environmental sustainability. Those are the areas we touch upon. We go as per, but a lot of activities we don't consider CSR, which I have covered in this presentation. They are not CSR, they are part of sustainability. And some of them are also, we consider them as responsible business, because we don't call them CSRs. For example, there may be a school that we are running and that is open to everybody, but because some of the some children from the tea gardens are also going there, maybe 20% also, 30% also. But then we say, okay, we will, as a Tata Group, we are very conscious. We will not call it CSR. Some other companies may call it CSR, but we say, okay, since our employees are using it, we will not call it a CSR. We will call it responsible business. So it doesn't go into your CSR book of accounts. It goes under our P&L as a business expense.
Okay. So Rohit, I think you got the answer. Okay, thank you. There is a question from Ashim, but this is not on the topic. Ashim, please. So as we are running out of time, I'm sorry that we cannot take this question on this. We have Partha Pratim Gogoi, who is our MBA executive student, sir, here in Tejpur University. He has a small tea manufacturing unit there in Kaziranga. So he is asking, sir, as a manufacturer, how will I be benefited if I go for trustee?
Oh, you just have to write to them. Just, the trustee secretariat is there. Just contact them, tell them you're interested. And once you say that you're interested, somebody from there will contact you. We will send our... so there is a organization like Tea Research Association, Tata Trust, who are working as the implementing partners. They will come to you. They'll train you. They'll train you, your workers, your managers. Even sometimes we will have some training outside, maybe in Guwahati or Kolkata. You'll be invited there. You'll be given all details. And once you have that detail, complete understanding of what the standard is, what its requirements are. They'll even do a gap audit for you. So once you do the gap audit will tell you that this is the trustee requirement and these are the things which is missing in our estate. Once you close the gap, you are ready to be audited, then we'll support you in auditing. And third-party external audit organization like DNV or IMO, there are so many, there are 7 or 8 of them. They will come audit you. Once you're audited, you'll get the certificate. The good thing is once you have trustee certificate, then you have a preference over other tea gardens for the tea that Unilever and Tata buys. So this program is we have committed that we will buy trustee certified tea. Currently, we are buying about 60 to 70% of our procurement is trustee certified. We want to be 100% in the next future. It is a slow process. And also when you are selling in the auctions, when you go to Guwahati auction or Kolkata auction, then in the catalog you can write that this tea is trustee verified. So our people who are going to buy from Tata or from Unilever or from Wagh Bakri, they know that we are buying trustee verified tea or non-trustee verified tea. So I think it opens up a huge opportunity and potential for you. Even otherwise, I think, it helps in improvement because it is bringing in best practices from other tea gardens, what other people are doing, what best practices there in other gardens, and it will help you in improving, not just improving, it will help in improving the workers, but also your productivity, good practices from everywhere. So I think absolutely, if you're interested, and you can, my number is there, you can write to me, you can write to trustee secretariat, and we'll be very happy to support.
Thank you, sir. And we welcome you to the university. Once you come to the university, we'll go together to Partha's unit to see. No?
Yes.
So, that would be great.
So we have done a lot of business with you, sir. My company name is Fancy Industries.
Oh, very good.
Great, Partha. Yeah. Sir, actually, we are running out of time. There is a question for Kamal Garg, sir, also.
Right.
But people are waiting for the session to be ended. Our students are also waiting. We're sorry that some of the questions we cannot take. So we definitely will note down the questions and we'll try to connect to these respective speakers to get it answered at one point of time. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Anurag, sir, for this. Your reference to Malawi would have been much more because every year we get students from Malawi under the ICCR. There is a Indian Council for Cultural Research, whereby at least some students, invariably they come from Malawi at the Business Administration Department for MBA program. Last year also we had 4 students from Malawi. And yeah, but this time because of Corona, so last year we could not take, but this year we are taking again. And so Malawi has a special.
Oh, excellent.
I think Sarkar sir got muted.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are very happy to and fortunate to get ourselves connected with the referral hospital at Chabua when our people visited there, talk to the local people and your telemedicine equipment and how local people are getting benefit from the referral hospital. It was great to know. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving a so consolidated a presentation on 9 principles. And it was a continuation of as the Kamalji's presentation. So it had been a nice journey altogether. May I request Amitabh sir to quickly summarize the 2 sessions which was there today.
Thank you, sir. I would say it was like a holistic picture because, when Kamal sir was speaking, because obviously being a company secretary, I could remember that slide in which he was talking about SEBI law, Companies Act, labor law, FEMA. So, when we talk of BRSR, primary understanding is you have to do a lot of legal things. But that was the intent of giving it to Kamal sir so that he could show the ground realities of what is required. But when we saw the same 9 principles being implemented by Tata, it was a totally different thing. Because in the pictorial presentation, we could understand what those 9 principles actually mean on the ground. So my only summation or even submission to everyone who's present, who's from the non-legal background or accounting background or who is aspiring to be a sustainability expert is that, see, there is a lot of scope, and please don't limit yourself by thinking that we are not a finance people, we can't contribute, we are not from the law people, what will we understand about BRSR or BRR? If you see the presentation made by Anurag sir, you will see a lot of integrated aspects happening. Even I think if you are a school teacher teaching students in a tea garden, you're actually impacting the sustainability drive of Tata. Your how many and accounting wise, how many students did you teach? What was the impact? Whether the education level has gone up? How much was the dropout? That becomes accounting data. So as a school teacher or somebody who's teaching drama or maybe somebody who's teaching music, don't think that you're beyond the universe of sustainability reporting or BRSR. Your efforts will get into the BRSR. So I think that is what we need to understand, and that is what we have to take away from the entire seminar, that it is not a mechanical exercise, it is not a tick box compliance. There are so many aspects wherein you can contribute, and I think if you really go to the Tata's website, just see their presentation, you can identify where you fit in. So that is all what I wanted to say. Kamal sir, if you have 1-2 words to sum up, sir. Anything you want to say, sir?
So to sum up, I will say simply sum up.
Sum up.
Because it is
Anurag sir, did I miss out something? And yes, one more thing. While we teach, and just wanted to appraise all of you present, I think just last month we did an exercise on analyzing the CSR spend of companies which have been awarded by MCA in National CSR Awards. And the first thing that we tell our MBA, MCOM, whatever students they come from is, you must know how to read the annual report. So all the students present here, please don't think that it is an academic exercise. You heard Anurag sir say that annual report is the most important document. So next time when you are given such a project, take it as if this is the opening to your career. Don't take it like this is some, you're just wasting your time. So that's all from my side, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So with the quick note, we just want to wrap up the seminar with the valedictory. May I request CA Gaurav Garodia to speak a few words on this.
Okay. Thank you, Sarkar sir. Like all good things have to come to an end, this 2-day virtual seminar is also coming to an end. And on behalf of the Guwahati branch of CA Institute, I would like to thank all the speakers and resource person, Kamal Garg ji, Anurag Priyadarshini ji, and in absentia, C. Atul Kumar Gupta ji and Vishal Bhavsar ji for sharing their knowledge. And it was absolute pleasure listening to you, sir. And we also thank the members of our institute, the students, the officials from Tejpur University, the VC, the registrar, and Sarkar sir, Amitav ji. And we would like to be associated with Tejpur University again, sir. So we are a call away. And on behalf of the Guwahati branch, we wish all good health to the VC sir, who is not yet well and we could not listen to him. Thank you.
Thank you, Gaurav ji. Thank you very much, being the industry partner in organizing the event. We have with us Dr. Biren Das, the registrar of Tejpur University. We are also in a small way doing something on sustainability. We are a growing university, started in the year 1994. We have a high pressure for growing construction of building, at the same time cutting the trees, the greenery. So register is, has a high amount of pressure to maintain the sustainable development in the campus. May I request Dr. Biren Das, who is a pioneer in Tejpur University right from day zero, because he is here since the establishment of the university, and now he is the helm of affairs at the registered Tejpur University. May I request Dr. Biren Das sir to please speak a few words at the valedictory session.
Thank you, Sarkar sir. First, I apologize that I cannot go taking advantage of both camera and microphone because of some technical problem. So I may be excused because I am not techno savvy and my support staff is not there at this moment. Esteemed panelists and participants, and I am happy to see my students from the seminar hall. I could see you. Thanks to organizers for giving me this opportunity to be here on this virtual platform in this evening. And on behalf of Testimony, I convey my gratitude to all of you for taking out time for deliberations on this important issue of sustainability. I was lucky to get some hints from the deliberations of Mr. Anurag Priyadarshi and could get good number of points, though I may not be able to cover all those in these small deliberations. I'm happy to share that our university is also a part of sustainability movement, and Professor Sarkar has just hinted about the responsibility we have to take being an academic institution in higher learning. We aim at having a sustainable university campus which promotes carbon neutral energy uses, conservation of neutral ecosystems, reduce the neutral resource consumption, and recycle or reuse of waste into a meaningful manner. Reducing the fossil fuel based energy consumption, increase the uses of non-carbon based energy resources, adopting energy efficient technology, waste recycling, increase the greenery within the campus are some of our mandated objectives. We have already taken steps towards achieving our sustainable campus initiative to the extent possible and within the requirement as mandated by various government agencies. Testimony, being a leading higher educational institution, is committed towards sustaining the neutral ecosystem, lowering ecological footprint, and adopting mitigation strategies towards climate change, and to do so with an institutional practice that respects and acts to protect the natural resources for the greater interest of the world. We firmly believe in our vision of becoming a sustainable campus that contributes positive environmental, social benefits and engaged in sustainability related activities. Our vision, which is already placed in public domain, and related action plan to generate 40% of total electricity consumption in the university from renewable or non-conventional energy resources by 2030. We want to make 40% green coverage on the campus. At the moment also we have nearly 40%, but we try to maintain that one, and accordingly we have prepared our master plan. 100% of generated waste is targeted to segregate and recycle within the campus for meaningful use by 2030. Accordingly, we have developed our action plan. We are trying to get 75% of movement of campus dwellers or visitors by bicycle or electric vehicle within the campus by 2030. Towards this, we have already introduced one pool bicycle where 10 bicycle pools will be there on the campus. We have already started with 3 and hope that campus visitors will be interested or motivated to utilize bicycles on the campus and contribute from their side in environmental preservation. To promote sustainability through curriculum and encourage students to pursue active research in promoting sustainability with the help of various academic or course curricula which are being offered in various programs. Being one of the members of Sustainable Campus Initiative, I will refrain from talking more about what we are doing. Instead, we will request all to visit Testimony website to know more about the initiative the university has taken. It is in public domain of the university website. I would like to share my personal gratitude to Sri Gaurav Garodia, chairman of our very own Guwahati branch of EIRC of ICAI, other panelists, Gaurav Garodia, who has been with us from the first day and contributed immensely towards identifying and onboarding speakers from the Chartered Accountant fraternity. A special thank to Gauravji, and special thanks to Anurag Priyadarsini, as I have mentioned in the very beginning, for joining this program and his very thoughtful, enriching deliberations. I extend my special gratitude to Sri Vijay Kapoorji, former Director, Board of Studies, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and member, Board of Postgraduate Studies, Department of Commerce of our esteemed Tezpur University. His humbleness and being an epitome of knowledge has made every such seminar an outstanding one. It was an honor to have you, sir, for this seminar again, and we look forward to your inputs in designing the future trajectory of our students as you are being associated with us always. And I sincerely thanks Professor S.S. Sarkar and his team, who have done a great job in putting together an event on such a relevant topic. Last but not the least, the participants deserve a special note of thanks for making this whole seminar a grand success with their active participation, cross-question, and lively interaction. Thank you all. Have a nice time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining in spite of your all busy schedule. We understand that how you have to join this seminar quickly. Thank you for sparing time for us. And it's a great honor to end the seminar today by thanking Kamal Gargji, Anurag Priyadarsini. Yesterday we had got Vishal Vapsar sir from Ultratech Cement. We have CA Atul Kumar Gupta ji, the past president of ICAI, Sri Rabi Patwaji, where Rabi ji could explain the things. And today also Kamal Gargji has done a marvelous job of presentation of 5 C's. Thank you. Thank you, Kamal ji, for nice presentation today. And it's a nice experience altogether. And we think if we can contribute something towards this development, toward the sustainable development, toward the CSR, as you say that, no, towards building some kind of conscience, some kind of good sense in the minds of the budding people and those who are attending this seminar today, it would be, I think, that we could contribute something towards the nation building. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining. We end up with the national anthem quickly. So kindly raise for the national anthem as we end the session.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining and wish you a very good night and a very bright future. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.